Rachel Moorhouse, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm
Thanks for
doing
having
swimmingly.
me.
Yes, thank you
Awesome.
for coming in. Library District, this is the last one. This is the last of 8 interviews. So Ada
Wow.
County Library District, you are running. There are 2 open seats. People can vote for whoever they want. You are
Exactly.
running kind of as a duo, though, with Suzette Moore.
Right.
And you are Rachel Moorhouse. And the other 2 gentlemen are running kind of as a duo as well. But you can vote for any, all, none. It doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
May 20th is the election. The library district. Now, as everyone knows, libraries were not that big of a thing 5, 6, 7 years ago. Not that
No.
big of a thing, not in utility, but in like public kind of, they weren't really in the, like the, everybody's purview.
Right.
It was like,
Right.
whatever,
It
the
was like
libraries
it's the
exist.
library, whatever.
Yeah. Words are hard today, apparently, for me.
That's okay.
But the bottom line is like people are paying more attention to the libraries, and for a number of reasons on all sides of the political spectrum. Talk to me about this. Why are you running for the library district?
Well, I feel like once we get going and we start talking, people will maybe understand more why I'm running. I'm here for one because you contacted me. I am not a person that wants to be in the limelight and whatever all the time, but I don't know. I feel like it's super important. I've been a member of this community my whole life. I was born and raised here, 50 years almost. Anyway, I just feel like it's super important for people to know what they're voting for and to get involved and vote. And I think it's awesome that so many people put their name in the hat. When I submitted my paperwork, I was the first one, and I thought, awesome, maybe I won't have to campaign. But in this climate, that's not going to happen. So people have come out, and I think it's great that people feel like it's their civic duty to get involved. And
So to that end, when people are voting and they consider voting for you, what are they voting for?
So people are voting for mom, an educated person, a person who has raised a handful of kids in this community. I've been involved in the schools. I have a teaching degree. I graduated from Boise State. I've been very embedded in this community for 50 years. And so I feel like I have a handle on why our community is so awesome and why people like yourself have moved here. I think I heard you say in another podcast that you had moved here from a state that shall be unnamed.
State that shall not be named. Yeah. Don't say that name.
You and everybody else. No.
Yeah, right.
And it's great. It's great. But so I think what people...
Well, some of us are great.
Some of you are great. No.
And I get to say that because it's like me.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But I think what people need to understand is why did you move here? Like, what are the reasons you moved here? I think I heard you say you had a friend that
Ada
was
County
like,
Library District,
I know, but
not
this
why
all
Matt
has to
moved here.
This all has to do with it and the reason why I'm running. So I think I heard you say that you had a friend that told you like it was a great family community.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like
at the base
awesome
of it.
place to raise your kids. Like awesome.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the people that are leaving wherever they're from for whatever reason, I think they need to realize there's a reason why our community is such an awesome place to move to and why our libraries are awesome and why our community spaces are so awesome. And to me, if you look back to where these people are coming from, one of the reasons I'm running is because, and this may sound a little like far in the future, whatever, but one of the reasons I'm running is because I don't want the city and the state that I love to turn into whatever you guys left. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There's a thing that I know you're going to hate when I tell you.
Go ahead.
The person who moves here and in like the first 10 minutes, they arrive and they're like, I'm going to save Idaho.
No, I know.
Like those people to me are like, oh my God.
And I want to say, if you're going to save Idaho, why'd you just leave what you came from?
Well,
why
hang
are
on,
you leaving?
hang on though. But here's the thing, like you were born and raised here, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know if we could have a conversation where you're like, hey, Matt, I want to stop this place from becoming what you moved from because I'm the one who knows what I moved from.
Right.
And I'm the one that theoretically knows why it became that way. Right. So it's kind of like the perspective of the Californian, I said it, moving here and then saying like, I know what Idaho is, so I'm going to stop that. I think that's analogous to an Idahoan being like, I'm going to stop, like, I'm not going to let it become that place either. It's like, well, like, we're not lining up because we don't both have the equal perspectives. But the bottom line is like, what is it that why are you running for the library district?
So the growth and everything, that's expected with people coming in and everything, and people have to be adaptable and change and whatever. But I think it's really important that people realize that we have to be, adapting to change, but we have to be firm on certain things that we feel strongly about.
Sure.
And some of the things that people want to change are not things that I think we should change, because I think they will change our communities and our community spaces and things like that.
Like, what are you talking about? Like specific.
Well, I lived in Portland 20 years ago. My husband got his doctorate degree there. And 22 years ago, it was awesome. Like, it was beautiful. I had 3 little kids. I'd take them down to the zoo. I'd take them into town to the OMSI and all the museums and all the things. And we'd go walk along the river and go out to eat and whatever. And I think the last time I went back was 4 years ago, because we love the coast. We love to go out to the coast. And man, if you want to see tent cities and yuck and
Rachel,
like, what
I get it, but wait. Hang on. I don't understand. Okay, what I'm saying clearly is like, I don't understand what you're saying to me. We can talk about how terrible the West Coast states are, and I'm not going to defend anything that they're doing.
Okay.
And we can say that, like, gosh, we would really like this area to not become those places. I agree.
Okay.
But why is the library district interesting to you? And why are you running for the library district?
So if people can see a correlation from those cities to I guess I'll say it, the politics, right? Some of the politics that have gone on and some of the things that have changed in those cities. What people don't understand is that change starts with little things like library boards.
Okay, so help me understand what correlation you see between the Ada County Library District and places you don't like. Like, what is happening in the Ada County Library District that you disagree with?
Okay, so right now, the Ada County Library District is great. I think it's good. I think it's running well. For the most part. I think it's great. No, I don't think there's anything wrong. What I'm saying is I don't agree with some of the ideologies that people are coming in with.
Like what?
Well, I guess there are just a lot of controversial things around the United States right now in general with books and things. And what it comes down to is that no matter, I mean, I have a strong moral core, and I have beliefs and values that I like to stick to. But as much as I believe in those things, as a board, we have to adhere to Idaho law. And so I think we need to be careful about adhering to the law and allowing things in our library that adhere to the law. And I think that's one of our jobs as a library board. Sorry, I'm not explaining myself very well.
It's okay. Listen, let's do this.
Okay.
I feel like we're trying to bite off like a gigantic national chunk.
Yes.
It's like,
let's pare it down.
Just talk about the Ada County Library District. Okay. Because I'll be honest with you. It seems that within library discussions, there are people that think we have a problem with content moderation and there are inappropriate things. And I'm just throwing this out. Problem with things in the library. And then there are people that feel that the libraries and community feedbacks are functioning well and we don't have a problem with moderation. Right now, I have no idea which side you're on because you're saying like people are bringing ideologies here.
I need to be more blunt.
The problem with just saying people are bringing ideologies here. there is an argument that is being made that it's like, oh, all these quote liberal, ex-Californians are moving here. That is overwhelmingly not playing out on boots on the ground. Ada County has never been more conservative and more red than it is now.
Love
and
Ada County.
Overwhelmingly, if you are a left-leaning Californian, Ada County is the last place in the world you want to move.
Live. Yes.
So people have self-selected. And so there is what I consider an erroneous assumption that people moving here from, say, California are left-leaning. They're trying to bring that. What I see more happening is the opposite, that people are very, very conservative. So I'm trying to figure out, what are you saying about ideologies that people are bringing? Do you think that people are being too aggressive with moderation and they're bringing an anxiety that's then destroying our library districts because they're trying to get books removed? Or are you saying that people are bringing an ideology emphasizing that we should put more, questionable books in our libraries? I don't know which side you're on.
So what I'm saying is our libraries are in a great position right now.
Great. Awesome.
The Ada County Library is awesome. I've been to all of them. I used to take my kids there.
Awesome.
We were there every week at the story times and the mommy and me time and the whatever, the movement and music and all the things that they provide, all the programming and things. They have awesome programming. I can speak more to that later. But anyways, why I'm running is to try to keep that the way it's running right now and how people are happy with it. And I guess what I'm trying to say is really what it boils down to is that, and I've been out canvassing and talking to people, and what it boils down to is that Suzette and I are the most conservative choice for this, for this position, these trustees. And so,
how do you mean?
Other
Can
guys
you define conservative?
I guess, and everybody says, oh, this is a bipartisan race. Well, it is a bipartisan race. But if you don't know where people stand and you don't know what they agree with and don't agree with, how are you going to know what side they're on and what their values and their, for the community are?
Well, hopefully you talk to them.
that's the problem.
Well,
and
no,
so,
I don't know what you're saying to me. When you say I'm the most conservative choice, what do you mean?
Well, I would say Suzette and I. So,
okay, but you guys are running I know you're running as a duo.
Yes.
But people can vote for you individually. So when I'm talking to you, Rachel Moorhouse, and you say, I'm one of the top 2 most conservative people in this race. I'm asking you as a voter, what does that mean?
So as a voter, I think voters know the difference between conservative and liberal.
I don't. And let me explain to you why. And I'm a dum-dum, but hang with me. Okay,
go ahead.
So when you move here from one of the cow states, what you realize is there's a spectrum of conservatism in Idaho that you have no point of reference to.
Yes.
So you have the guy who lives on the mountaintop by himself and doesn't believe the federal government exists. He's conservative. And you go all the way down through the spectrum to the gal who works at the coffee shop with face tattoos and purple hairs, who's also conservative.
Right.
And so when you say I'm conservative, I don't know what that means.
I guess I fall somewhere probably in the middle of that.
Well, I would hope so. Dude on the mountaintop, no face tattoos.
Not that.
So when you say I'm the most conservative and that's the characteristic that you're really defining yourself by, okay, like I'm not saying wrong. I'm just wondering what should I take away from that as a voter?
Right. And I guess maybe I'm not choosing my words so wisely. I don't know if people are going to vote for me just because I say Suzette and I are probably the most conservative choice. I mean, obviously there's, the other people that are running and, they're great. I know Travis personally, he is awesome. He is a great guy. Our opinions differ, I think, maybe a little bit on things, but everybody's
where are those differing opinions? How do we differentiate you from...
I don't know because I can't speak to him. I mean, I can't.
Okay, great.
I don't know.
Okay, so again,
but anyway,
you want to make sure the library district continues running well. Yes. And what are things you're concerned about with it falling into a state of not being run well? Like what is it that you're worried about?
Well, there are lots of things happening in our country I'm sure you're aware of.
Ada County.
Okay,
what is it
so this is what I'm concerned about, is that Ada County falling in suit with some of these other areas.
Okay, like what?
Like I'll give you an example. Like story times. So if during the kindergarten story time, not kindergarten age story
Sure.
time, people want to start reading books that have social issues that everybody doesn't want their kids hearing about. Things
And-
like that.
And the
I don't
board, they're
know
not
if
currently
those are-
doing that.
No.
Okay, so Ada County,
Not that I know of.
the existing board is
probably
not
heard.
currently participating in any of the,
No.
anxiety or offendable things that you would find
No.
offendable. Okay. Okay, so that's
no,
good.
not to my knowledge, no. They're being run very well and very
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess let's get out of the weeds from that, the conservatism and all that. I guess what I need to say is what makes me a candidate that I think people should vote for is, my experience. I've had experience with children and, I have 5 kids of my own. I put them all through the school districts. I've been their volunteer art teachers. Sorry, I keep hitting the mic.
You're good.
I have subbed for the Boise School District and the West Ada School District. I never taught full time because when I graduated, I was 8 months pregnant with my first baby, and that was really important to me to stay home with him, and then all of the kids that followed. And so I feel like that is the most important job to me, was to stay at home, be a mom. But with that, be very involved in their schooling. And I was never one of those people that could pull out and do homeschool. I liked my kids in school. I liked the school systems. I think they're good for kids to be in and
yeah,
to
and
learn
different.
from.
It works for different families.
And
yeah.
to have different perspectives coming in and kids from all walks of life. I think it's good for kids to be in those environments and things. And so, anyway, so I have that experience. I don't know. I've just been very involved in the community. And I think, I have a lot of mommy friends that love the library and want to keep the library running as it is and a safe place for kids, and for the board to follow the law and to keep things in areas where they should be according to the law. And they're not in a place where they can run. I mean, I wasn't 20 years ago with kids at home and things. And so I'm at a point in my life now where I saw a need and thought, you know what, this is something I can do. I'm going to step up and I'm going to run and put my name out there. And it's been awesome. You get phone calls from, everybody and their dog. And a couple of those have been, thank you for being willing to put your, and you said the same thing.
Oh,
For
absolutely.
putting your name, my name's out there.
We need people willing
information
to civically engage. And this is
Yes.
not like, you're not like making money. Like,
No,
you gotta,
this is not a paid position.
Yeah, right.
This is all
You have-
volunteer.
absolutely.
And it's not like I need something to do. I mean, I have 5 kids, 2 grandkids. I am very involved with, church and the school and volunteer programs and whatever I volunteer with at the high school and all the things, the senior parties and all the stuff that I've done for the past 20 years. I'm super busy, but I feel like it's a time in my life where I'm able to step up and I'm able to contribute what I can contribute. And for me, it's really preserving the way Idaho is and has been. And I love my community. I mean, it's the community that raised me. And I was 9 years old, I think, when this district was formed. And I don't know if anybody's explained that to you, because people say to me all the time, I've had tons of people come up to me and say, "Oh, I'll vote for you. I'll vote for you." And I'm like, "You can't vote for me. You live in Meridian." Well, I'm like a mile away from the library. I know, but it's
the library boundaries.
it's very weird. Yeah, it's very disjointed. But it was a group of people that got together that didn't have, weren't in the Boise library, the Meridian library, and so they created this the Ada Community Libraries, and it's basically all the outlying areas, and so. Anyway, it's awesome, and it's a great resource for people. And in visiting all the libraries, I just realize how important it is. And they've got all this programming, the STEM programs, and I mean, the Victory branch even has this whole display and books, and they've got things. It's a memory care.
Yes.
And I wasn't even aware of that because I thankfully haven't been in that world yet. Haven't had a parent to take care of or anything. But they've got little animals that you can check, these little fake stuffed animals that you can check out as like a companion to see if they want to maybe get a cat or a dog or whatever. Anyway, there's just tons of resources and programming that are awesome. And I just feel like I want to serve. I want to help. I want to keep the things in there that are supposed to be in there. And And I think it's awesome that the public also has a means and a way to, come forward and say, hey, I don't agree with this. And
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about
Yeah.
that. I mean, obviously we have 710 from last year, which allows people to come forward and really civically engage as members of the community and say, hey, look, I don't agree with this. And we have a mechanism where, that grievance goes to the library director, and then the library director makes a recommendation to the board.
Yep.
Then the board ultimately decides we agree or disagree, whatever it might be. Do you think that's an effective moderation tool for the community?
Well, I think it's fairly new. I mean, it was just last year, but it seems to be, to my knowledge, I mean, I'm not on the board yet. I can't speak to this totally, but I don't think there have been any brought forward. Like I said, I think the Ada community libraries have been really pretty quiet, especially compared to the Meridian libraries, which I did not agree with the trying to shut down and all that.
I learned, again, I don't live in Meridian, so I learned
Yeah.
about that recently. I'm like, oh, they tried to shut down the library. Like, two of the people running tried to shut down the library district. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
Whatever,
It's interesting. I mean, that's going a little too far for me, but I do agree. I mean, and that's another thing is I believe that the rights should be in the hands of the parents. And so
how do you mean?
That's another thing people need to know about me is that, well, some of the time, more so with schools than with libraries, but when you get people in charge, for lack of better words, that think they know what children need to know and learn and believe, I still think that's up to the parents.
Do you think that's happening in our libraries?
No, I don't think it's necessarily happening in the library. That's why I'm saying I agree with that bill, because if somebody walks in and sees something and they're like, oh, this should not be in the kids section, we can obviously review that. And according to Idaho law, and I don't know if you're aware of what that says or if you've researched that at all.
I did a dump truck of library interviews last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, through the
Yeah,
legislative
so you've
session.
heard all these little things and whatever. But
So,
yeah.
But again, just for that idea, I mean, we have the concept of parent rights is interesting because, again, it's like you have the right. Say you walk into the library and you're like, hey, I don't like this book, or I think this book is inappropriately categorized, right? It should not be with the youngest kids. It should be with like the teens, or it's with the teens, and I think it should be with the adults, everybody over 18,
right.
Or I don't think it has a place in our library at all, right? And I'm sure you could find some example of like this does not belong in a public library.
That would be pornography to me.
Right. Like the history of Hustler magazine and Larry Flint or something. Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the point is that parents have the ability to file grievances and say, hey, I don't think this book is in the right place or it doesn't belong here. But that doesn't include the, quote, right to have any book removed from the library. So when people are like, we should have parents' rights, it's like, well, we have the right. You absolutely do have the right to file a grievance. And if you don't agree with the board, 710 allows for a judicial review, which is essentially somebody outside of the library district saying, hey, I either agree or don't agree with the library trustees, right?
Right.
So I think when people talk about parents' rights, some people construe that, or I have heard people say, yeah, we should have the right to remove things. It's like, that's not, you have the right to a review,
right?
And you have the right to review through a board and then through a judge,
right?
You don't have the right to just remove it because you don't like it.
No, because you don't agree with it or you don't like it. I mean, that's censorship. That's, the B word that I won't even bring up here, but it's not.
I was like, the B word.
What?
Yeah, I got you.
But that's not right. I mean, everybody has different opinions, and you can't take things out of the library just because you don't agree with their opinions or whatever. Now, when it comes to Idaho code, yes, if it's pornographic or it's
Any of those things.
There's all those
and
little
people
things
can read that code. They make it pretty straightforward.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm speaking from a point where I've had experience like this with the school district. And so I don't know if you want me to speak to that at all, but I had
Ada County Library District, right? So because again, I think you and I could both speak to various things where, people in either appointed positions of power or elected positions of power appear to be behaving in a poor manner.
Right.
But again, if we're talking about the library districts, like anybody could relate to being bothered by people in places of authority, but
Right.
like as it relates to the library, like we got to kind of stay on track there.
Right. Right.
So bottom line, it sounds like you're saying, look, you've been an engaged citizen of the community for some time and you like Idaho and you like the way Idaho goes and you don't want it to go some other way.
Yep.
And there's nothing going on right now that you're really worried about. And there's no cause for concern with any of the programs or the things you do. You feel like you have unique qualifications or at least valid qualifications through your lived experience in your family and your professional career. And you want to offer that service to the community as a library trustee.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
Thank
God
you
bless
for putting that into a nutshell for me.
You're welcome. And God, like we need that. We need people coming forward willing to serve.
Yeah.
You know, like for all the people that want to just go to Facebook and be upset about things, it's like we need people coming forward in the real world to serve. And I think public communication like Facebook has a place, but at the same time, it's like, that's not going to do it. Like you got to show up and all the people
show up.
Yeah. You got
to vote. And that's what I want to tell all my mommy friends and all the people that, you know, so the reason why this one is so important is because our library board right now mostly agrees with kind of what I'm saying and sticking to the law and all of the things and the parental rights.
Has anybody there differed on that point that you should like stick to 710 and stuff?
I haven't been to enough meetings to speak to that. I don't know if anybody has disagreed.
Well,
but
then you know. Have you observed anybody articulating a position that runs counter to the law?
I know that there are librarians, people working in the libraries that do not like the 710 bill for whatever reason.
But they stick to it.
They have to stick to it. Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, they're employees; they have to stick to it.
Right. So
but
we could have people that
about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But again, that's different than like, no, we're not going to observe this. Like there's a difference between liking a law, or excuse me, not liking a law and going along with it, and not liking a law and deciding that you're going to be the person that breaks it.
Right.
So as of right now, you're saying, hey, some of the librarians.
I'm saying the majority of the board agrees with all of this and is.
But not all of the board?
Is great.
Not all the board? Who doesn't agree?
I don't know. I haven't been to enough meetings to know anything.
Okay, so nobody on the board that you know of disagrees.
The reason why I brought up politics in the first place is that, you know, obviously on every board, there's kind of a majority or a non-majority. And so, you know, if some of these ideologies that I was speaking to before, people that maybe want to change some things, maybe want to have more information out there for kids that maybe a lot of people don't agree
Rachel,
with.
Who's doing this? Do you know of anybody?
No, not right now. That's what I'm speaking to, is that in some of these other areas where and I guess my point about that is this is where things start to change, is things like library boards. And so you're concerned that somebody getting elected this round may have a position that they want to increase access to stuff. Exactly.
That is, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Well, I mean, everybody knows that whatever aisle you stand on with politics,
No. Why do you think that? We can't just say just because I'm the most conservative.
Right.
Why do you think that one of the three other people that are running want to increase inappropriate access to material for young people?
Oh, I can't say that.
I thought that's what
saying that for sure. I'm saying.
What are you saying for sure then?
I'm basing what I'm saying on the politics that maybe one of the candidates leans towards.
Okay. Wait. First off, you have to stop saying maybe.
Okay.
And what you have to say is, I think X. Now, do you think that we as voters have reason to believe that one of the other three people campaigning to be a library board trustee in Ada County Library District is looking to increase the access that minors have to inappropriate material?
Well, I have no idea if they plan on doing that, but I know based on their politics where they lean. And that's all I can say about that.
Well,
if people are liberal leaning, it's obviously going to affect, or it could, I'm saying it could affect. I'm running because I am trying to preserve the awesome libraries that we have. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying it could, and it is a concern because it's happened in other places. So I guess that's where I'm going with that.
Yeah. Here's something
Yeah.
that I find really interesting. Which version of conservative do we follow? Right? Because again, like
Your guess is as good as mine right now.
somebody
There's
who pays
so
taxes could be construed as like a rhino compared to somebody who doesn't think we should pay taxes or doesn't pay taxes.
Mhm.
Right? So that person who say argues that they're more conservative, they would call you liberal leaning because you're more liberal than they are, even though you're like,
Right,
no, I'm a
right.
conservative.
Right. No,
Right?
it's hard.
So-
it's hard these days. It's hard.
So the problem
Yeah.
that I run into when people want to group and categorize individuals and say they think this because they're more left or they're more right.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, but if we're essentially a one-party state, so considering that, how do we differentiate people? Because the articulation that, hey, I'm more conservative than they are, doesn't really hold water for any practical reason. It's just like, okay,
Well-
great. Well, there are always people that are more conservative than you and me.
Right. Right.
And there are definitely people that are more left-leaning than you and me.
yeah.
You know, and I have found even the more liberal people in the state to be, far and away. Like if you
Right.
dropped one of
They're
the
more
Democrats
conservative liberals,
right
yeah.
into my former state,
Mhm.
oh my God, that person would be like run out of town. Like
Yeah.
there's no,
Yeah.
there are no
Right.
parallels in
Right.
in that besides like a party name.
Mhm.
So, just saying, hey, I think that these people are more open to increasing inappropriate material just because of their party affiliation, especially in this state, for me as a voter, it's like, I don't know how to do anything with that. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I
first
think a
off, there are
lot-
too many spectrums of
I think
conservative
a lot
anyway.
of voters do, though.
Mm.
I think a lot of voters do. I mean, maybe your perspective coming from where you've come from, you see it differently. I think it all depends on your perspective. I mean,
Yeah,
just
could
like
be.
you saying, I think you said in one of the other podcasts that you and your wife had watched a movie or something, and and then 10 years later you went back and watched it, and you were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was.
Back
and
to
that's
the
happened
Future.
to me. Yes,
Back to the
and that's
Future.
happened to me too with music I used to listen to or movies I used to watch, and I turn it on, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, why didn't I see this before? It's because your
Yeah.
perspective has changed. Most of the time, it's because you have kids now. I mean, that's the other reason I feel like I'm so qualified is because I have been in this world with kids for 28 years. Like, I know what these kids are facing. I know what they come up against. I just really feel passionate about keeping things in the library where they should be appropriate according to Idaho law. And if people come to us and because I have no idea what all the library contains. So people will let us know. I mean, people are not shy about coming forward and saying, hey, I saw this in the library. This is not appropriate. This should be moved.
Sure.
And if that's their opinion and it's not against the law, maybe it's a social issue I don't agree on. There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, people are going to disagree and have different opinions, but if it is talking about some of these things or showing some of these things that are literally illegal for anybody under 18, which is like the experience I had with the school district, it should be moved. It needs to be moved. And so...
Yeah, but again,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you're saying the current trustees agree with you because you don't have a grievance with the current
The
moderation.
meetings that I've been... Right.
From
Yeah,
from
sounds
all the
like, yeah.
information you have, right?
Mhm.
However, 1 meeting, 0 meetings, 100
Mhm,
meetings.
mhm.
The information that you have does not present a picture of the Ada County Library District as not doing that, right?
Mhm,
They're
mhm.
moderating appropriately. And there's no information that you have about other candidates advocating for the counter at this point. Like, and you don't know everything about them. I mean, and again,
Right.
I get your
can't
position.
say.
I
Yeah.
want appropriate moderation too.
Right.
Like, I 100% want appropriate
Right.
moderation. I
Right.
don't
And I
want
think-
terrible things in
Yes.
the section with kids. Like,
Right.
that's ridiculous.
Right.
So
But
I'm
your
just trying
opinion
to,
of terrible might be different than my opinion of terrible.
as it
And
applies
that's
to
why-
Idaho law.
Yes.
And again,
Exactly.
I think that we absolutely should be law abiding individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And, if there's an issue with the law, I talk to legislatures all the time, and
Yeah.
I'm a nobody. Like, they're totally open
Right.
to talk to people and,
Yeah.
and have conversations, and people need to be, again, come back to civic engagement.
Yes.
And if there's a problem with the law, if you think it's too loose, if you think it's too tight, then talk to
Then get
the legislature.
involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get involved.
That's what I'm saying to people now. You got to go vote.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
God bless that. May 20th. You got to go
May
vote.
20th, You got to go vote.
Yes.
Yeah. And nobody votes in this election. I mean, you'll go and you maybe wait 5 minutes. I think it's like 10% of voters that between 6 and 10 that actually vote in this election. So it is important, though.
It is a tiny important portion. Yeah, it's even smaller than the primaries. And there you only grab like 20% of registered voters. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, Rachel, God bless you, woman. Thank you for coming in today. Is there anything you'd like to say here at the end?
No, just vote for Suzette and I.
Vote for Suzette. Yeah. Excuse me, and I. Suzette and me. Vote
Suzette
for
and me. Sorry, you'll have to edit that out, please.
Oh my God. It's okay. That's the funniest thing about this is like, you have conversations and you actually have a real conversation, and we speak in as imperfect ways as we normally would. Like I talk to you like I'm walking down the street, you know? And
no, it's been great. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I much prefer that kind of like real conversation instead of everything like scripted and perfect. And blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's not an act, man. Let's just have a good time.
Right.
Anyway, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for running. Right. And I told you before we started, thank you for running. We need people to be willing to come and do this, to talk about the things that are important to them. Before the pandemic, almost nobody ran for school board. Almost nobody ran for the library district. People just didn't care. And like the last 5 years, I'm not saying we're the best 5 years of everybody's lives for sure, but we do have an engaged populace now, the likes of which I've never seen in my lifetime.
Yeah,
and you're part of that. So thank you for what you're doing. Good luck with the campaign.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.